Hey everyone, here is a quick tutorial on how to set up and use our virtual machine that we made for cheating. Alright, so the first thing that you do is you come here to the Evadus Plus tab. Now I don't have it installed, however before you install it, it's very important that you read this section. I'll just read it for you real quick. You're going to need Windows 10 or 11 Pro Enterprise or Education. You cannot use Home Edition. Some people get it to work with Home Edition, however it's very inconsistent. Secondly, it has to support virtualization, your CPU. You can check that in Task Manager, and you will need a USB webcam. If you're on a laptop with an integrated webcam, it might work, however it also might not work. Pretty inconsistent, so just for safety, I recommend that everyone uses a USB webcam. Anyway, then you just say download VM installer. When it's done downloading, you're gonna have a file like this called virtualmachine.zip. Just right click it and then say extract all. When it's done, you're gonna have a virtual machine folder like this. Go inside it and then double click the Evadus VM installer exe file. Then just press install virtual machine. It's gonna run 2 PowerShell scripts. It's very important that on the first one, just read what this line says. If it says that a restart is required, stop the installer, literally like exit out of it completely, restart your computer, and then run the installer again. As you can see, all of my features are already enabled, so I don't have to restart. So you just press enter. Now this is going to install the USB service. If it's your first time installing Evadus Plus, then you're going to get a different window. It's going to say something like install, and then you just leave everything default and just click install, next, everything. If it's already installed, like with me, you just click repair. Then it's going to run a second PowerShell script. The same here, don't touch anything, just let it finish, then just press enter. It's going to look like it's frozen, but it's not. It's just the first file is very big. It's about 11 gigabytes. However, as soon as it gets going, it's very fast. And there we go, now it's done. Then if we start up the app again, and if we go over to the Evadus Plus tab, you'll see everything is fine because we didn't get a pop-up saying that we need to install it. If you have problems, I recommend consulting this tab first. It probably has your solution. If not, then join our Discord server and we'll help you out. This is where you can allocate different amounts of CPU cores and RAM. I recommend leaving it at the default 2 cores and 4 gigabytes of RAM. Increase it if you have more, obviously. However, what can happen if you allocate too much resources, it will make your host machine slow, which will in turn make your guest machine slow. So I recommend leaving it at this. Make sure you have enough resources if you do want to change it. This is where you can pass through any USB devices. I'm going to showcase my webcam in a second, so I'm going to disable my webcam. And there we go, that's it. Now you can press start virtual machine and it starts right up. The password to the virtual machine is just 123. Now, every single time the virtual machine boots up, it's going to run these 2 PowerShell scripts. Do not touch them, just let them finish. You can minimize them while you wait because sometimes the first one is a little bit slow. The second one here attaches any USB devices, but because I don't have any USB devices passed through, I'm just going to close it out. And there we go, your virtual machine is set up and you are ready to cheat with anything. However, firstly, there's something you have to do. Go into File Explorer, go into Documents, Set Up Scripts, and then right click on Customizer and say Run with PowerShell. What this is going to do is it's going to randomize everything visually about the virtual machine. It's going to randomize absolutely everything from the desktop name to the MAC address. And then when the PowerShell script is done, it's going to restart. Still 123. Let the PowerShell scripts finish on startup. And as you can see here, we have a completely different background with completely different icons. This means that every single user gets a completely unique version of the virtual machine. So even if there's a guy in your class that also uses Evadus Plus, your virtual machines won't look the same because they all look different. Absolutely everything about this thing is spoofed. If you go over to the CPU, you'll see it's my host CPU. If you go into my memory, you'll see it's running a DDR4 stick of RAM with 1 DIMM slot. If you go over to the hard disk drive, you'll see it's a Western Digital Green 256 gigabyte, and nothing special really about the Ethernet adapter. If you go into system information, you'll also see it's a completely normal machine. There is really nothing special about this. It looks exactly like a normal one. Now I can sit here and talk about every single invisibility and undetectability feature there is. However, it'll be much better if I just show you that it actually works. This is where most cheatwares fall behind. They just talk about their features, but it doesn't mean anything if it doesn't prevent you from getting detected by something like Respondus or Safe Exam Browser. So for this, I'm actually going to download Safe Exam Browser and another proctoring tool so you guys can actually see that it works. All right, so here is Exam Shield. I know a lot of people use this. I'm going to say check system, and that's going to run a system check to make sure that it's not a virtual machine. As you can see here, it passes the system integrity test. Obviously, because I don't have any audio or cameras connected, I failed the audio test. But that's just because I didn't pass through my webcam because I'm recording on my host system. Now let's test Safe Exam Browser. And as you can see, it works perfectly with Safe Exam Browser as well. I've had a lot of people use this on Safe Exam Browser. I've had people verify that it works with Respondus, with Pearson View, with Safe Exam Browser. Plenty of them. If you'd like to see them, the people that use these to cheat, a lot of them put reviews and videos on our Discord server. So I recommend you join that for the latest updates and news and everything basically. I'm also just going to quickly show you guys how to pass through your webcam. Unfortunately, I can't screen record this part because as soon as I try to screen record it on my host computer, then my camera doesn't work. So I have to do it with my phone. Anyway, so I'm going to open the camera app real quick. And then you're going to notice that it's just black. What you do is you just come into your settings right here, change it to something of a lower resolution. And I'm also going to do that for my video, very important, something like 720p. And as you can see there, then it records me just fine. However, now if I go into a web browser and I try to do a webcam test, then you'll see it picks up my webcam and it works. However, as soon as it tries to go to a higher resolution, the maximum resolution that's available, then it's just gonna completely die. Mine didn't, but I'm gonna show you what you do if it does for you. What you do is you come into here, documents, and then you run the shortcut. This is a custom build of OBS Studio for the virtual webcam. However, everything is renamed to look like a Logitech utility tool. If you come into Process Manager right here, you'll see it's called a Logitech Webcam Utility so that it doesn't say OBS virtual webcam, which is obviously pretty suspicious. You're gonna come in here, select your webcam from that menu, then at resolution, you're gonna select custom, and then select a resolution. I'm gonna pick 18 by 1600. Then you can close out of this, then go into setup scripts, run dir again, rel with whatever. Then right here in that menu, you're gonna search install like that. Then you're gonna run that as administrator. And there we go, then it's installed. Then we're just gonna go back into the documents folder, run that again. And now you can see here's the option to start virtual camera. And there we go, now we're gonna close it again. And if we go into Microsoft Edge again and Google the webcam test, now it says that it detects multiple cameras. And when I go to select it from the list, you'll see here's the second option for the Logitech webcam. Test my camera, and there we go. You see here, it's called a Logitech webcam, and it works just the same as a normal webcam and looks the exact same to the system. Now, how you would actually cheat using the virtual machine is really up to you. A lot of people like to do it like this. They like to put it over here and they have, say, ChatGPT open or WhatsApp open. Some people like to screen share, which is also pretty creative. So they run this in the virtual machine and then they just screen share on their host system and then get answers given to them like that. Some people like to use social platforms like our Discord server, link in the description. It really is completely up to you. Also, another feature that I want to showcase to you guys is that you can go into full screen on the virtual machine and then it looks exactly like a legitimate system. For, let's say, you're writing in a physical exam environment, like let's say on campus. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set my resolution to a realistic spec, so 1920 by 1200. And then what you do is you press Control Alt and F, which is going to full screen it. And as you can see right now, this looks exactly like a real machine. So there really is no way to prevent people from cheating using our virtual machine. If you'd like to check it out for yourself or just hear testimonies and hear from other users that it does actually work, I recommend joining our Discord server. We just hit over 100 members, which is so fucking cool. So thank you to everyone that joined. Anyway, have fun and I hope you guys enjoy cheating in the best way possible.